You need to hear this before it's too late. Right now, yes, right now, you could be holding a silent fortune and not even know it. These aren't ancient coins locked in museums. These are modern dimes, coins you're literally spending without thinking. Hidden wealth is slipping through people's fingers every single day, and nobody talks about these. Collectors are fighting behind closed doors, paying real money for coins that look completely normal to you. This is real auction shock. So before you spend another dime, stop. Check your pocket now. Because the coins in this video, these coins change everything. And trust me, what comes next only gets rarer, scarier, and more valuable. Stay with me. Coin number 1. There's a reason some collectors go completely silent when this coin shows up. They don't celebrate, they don't brag, they just stare at it, almost like they're holding something they shouldn't have found. Because the 2009 Roosevelt dime with a P mint mark, especially the ones that look dirty, grey-black, almost neglected, is one of the most misunderstood pieces of hidden wealth still floating in circulation today. And here's the dangerous part. You might actually ignore it. That dull, dark, slightly grimy look, that's exactly why people spend it. That's why cashiers don't blink. That's why it disappears into drawers, jars, parking meters. It doesn't shine. It doesn't scream value. But that exact appearance is what makes it powerful. This is not fiction. 2009 was not just another year for the United States. The country was under pressure. Serious economic stress after the 2008 financial crisis. Production priorities shifted. The US Mint wasn't operating under normal conditions. Coin output dropped, attention shifted, and something subtle but critical happened. Fewer coins were made, and even fewer were preserved, especially from the Philadelphia Mint. Now think about that for a second. A lower mintage year, during a time when people were spending more coins out of necessity, not saving them, means survival rates dropped hard. These coins didn't get tucked away. They got used, abused, and lost in everyday transactions. And the ones that survived? Most of them look exactly like the one you'd throw away without thinking. Grey, black-spotted, slightly dirty, almost worn-looking. But that surface, that untouched original toning, is what collectors are hunting. Let me paint the picture for you. On the front, the obverse, you've got Franklin D. Roosevelt's profile. Strong, calm, facing left. The word liberty sits beside him, slightly stretched across the rim. In God We Trust is tucked near his neck, and the year 2009 rests cleanly below. But here's where your eyes need to sharpen. That tiny P mint mark. That single letter is everything. Most people never even notice it. Collectors? They obsess over it. Flip the coin over. The reverse shows that iconic torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right. Peace and strength. Balance. Unity. The words United States of America curve along the edge, with one dime sitting boldly at the bottom. It looks standard. It feels standard. But it's not. This coin is made of a copper core with a nickel outer layer, what we call a clad composition. Nothing flashy, no silver content. And that's exactly why it hides so well in plain sight. Now hold it in your hand. It weighs about 2,268 grams. Light, easy to overlook. The diameter sits at 17.91 millimeters, small enough to disappear between your fingers. The thickness, around 1.35 millimeters. Thin, almost fragile feeling. The reeded edge, those tiny ridges around the side, still crisp if untouched. But here's what changes everything. That grey-black toning, those dirty spots, that uneven surface that makes people think it's damaged. That is not damage in the way you think. That is time. That is chemistry. That is untouched history sitting on metal. And once you clean it, it's gone forever. Do not clean this coin. Seriously, this is where people destroy thousands of dollars without realizing it. The moment you try to fix it, polish it, wipe it, you erase the very thing collectors are paying for. Original surface is everything. Original toning is everything. This is where the silent fortune lives. Now, let's talk about why collectors lose their minds over this specific piece. It's not just the year. It's not just the mint mark. It's the combination of low survival, misunderstood condition, and the psychological trap it creates. Most valuable coins are obvious. This one isn't. And that makes it dangerous. Because while everyone else is chasing shiny perfection, serious collectors are watching the shadows. They're looking for untouched examples, coins that haven't been tampered with, coins that still carry that raw, natural aging. And when one shows up in the right condition, the room changes. Bidding doesn't start loud, it starts quiet, controlled, but then it escalates. Fast. Two collectors lock in. Neither wants to lose, because they both know they might not see another one like it for a long time. Supply is shrinking. Demand is rising. And the people who understand this coin, they're not selling, they're holding, because they know what's coming. Today's market value for a high-grade, properly preserved 2009 Roosevelt dime with that original grey-black toning can reach around $334,000. Let that sink in. A dime. A coin people toss into tip jars. You're holding a fortune, and you don't even feel it. This is why patience creates wealth in this world. This is why most people miss it. They're moving too fast. They're not looking close enough. So here's what you need to do, subtly, carefully. Start with the date, 2009. Then check for that P mint mark. Then stop and look at the surface. Don't judge it too quickly. That ugly look might be the exact thing that makes it valuable. Check the edges. Check the texture. Feel the weight. Look for originality, not perfection. And if you think you've found something, do not spend this coin. Do not clean it. Get it professionally graded. That step alone can be the difference between a few dollars and life-changing money. Because once it's authenticated, once it's sealed, once experts confirm what you're holding, everything changes. And here's the part most people aren't ready for. This isn't even the rarest one. The next coin is even harder to find, even more misunderstood. And when collectors see it, they don't hesitate. They move instantly. And if you thought this one was easy to miss, the next one is practically invisible. Next up, most people walk right past this coin, not because it looks bad, but because it looks too normal. A soft, grey shine, a calm, almost beautiful surface, nothing loud, nothing flashy. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. Because while you're admiring it for a second and tossing it aside, someone else out there is hunting it like it's buried treasure. The 1963 Roosevelt dime with a D mint mark doesn't beg for attention. It quietly waits for someone who understands. And if you miss it, you don't just lose a coin, you lose a silent fortune. This is the kind of piece that slips through generations unnoticed. Passed from hand to hand, pocket to pocket, never questioned, never examined closely enough. But the moment a serious collector spots it, especially in that smooth grey tone, that very fine condition with just the right amount of wear, the entire energy changes. Because this coin carries pressure from a moment in American history that most people don't connect to their pocket change. A year filled with tension, uncertainty, and transformation in the United States. The country was on edge, social shifts, political weight, and one of the most shocking national tragedies in modern history. That kind of environment doesn't just affect people, it affects production, focus, and how things are preserved. And right before 1965 changed everything about US coinage, 1963 was part of the final chapter of something incredibly important. Silver. This dime is not like the ones you're used to today. This one is made of 90% silver and 10% copper. Real, tangible, precious metal. Not layered, not plated. Solid. That alone already separates it from modern coins. But here's where it gets deeper. During that time, silver coins were still circulating heavily. People used them every day, completely unaware that within just a couple of years, those same coins would vanish from circulation, hoarded, melted, or lost forever. So while millions were minted in Denver, very few survived in truly attractive, untouched, very fine condition with that natural grey tone collectors crave today. Because most of them, they were used hard, dropped, scratched, worn down, cleaned, unfortunately, by people trying to make them look better, destroying their real value in the process. But the rare survivors, they tell a different story. Now look closely at the coin itself. On the obverse, Roosevelt's profile stands firm, facing left, composed, steady. The word liberty stretches across the side, bold but slightly softened by time in a very fine example. In God We Trust sits near the lower left, while the year 1963 rests just beneath his neck. And there it is again, that tiny but powerful detail. The D mint mark. Small, easy to ignore, but collectors don't ignore it. Because Denver minted coins from this era carry their own personality, subtle differences in strike, pressure, and finish that experts can spot almost instantly. Flip it over. The torch stands tall in the center, still sharp in its structure, even with slight wear. The olive branch and oak branch wrap around it, symbolizing peace and strength. United States of America frames the top, while one dime anchors the bottom. In a very fine condition coin, you'll notice something critical. The details are still alive. Not perfect, but present. The lines aren't flat. The features aren't gone. There's a balance between wear and preservation that collectors find incredibly attractive. And then there's that color, that soft gray shade, almost glowing under the right light. Not dull, not dirty, but aged. Naturally, authentically. That tone is not something you can recreate. It takes decades. And once it's gone forever. Do not clean this coin. Even a gentle wipe can strip away that natural surface and turn a six-figure treasure into something ordinary. Collectors don't want shine, they want truth. They want originality. They want untouched history. Now hold it. Feel the weight, about 2.5 grams. Slightly heavier than modern dimes because of that silver content. The diameter remains around 17.91 millimeters, but it feels different, more solid, more grounded. The thickness, around 1.35 millimeters. The edge, reeded, tight, precise. Everything about it feels intentional, real. This is not just currency. This is a survivor, and survival is what drives value. Because over time, silver coins like this were pulled out of circulation. People started saving them, yes, but also melting them when silver prices rose. That reduced supply even more. So now you have a situation where fewer original coins remain. Even fewer exist in desirable condition. And almost none have that perfect combination of natural toning, light wear, and untouched surfaces. That's why collectors don't hesitate. When a coin like this appears in the market, properly graded, authenticated, and preserved, it doesn't sit around. It moves, quietly at first, then aggressively, because the people who understand it know exactly what they're looking at. And they're not thinking about $10 or $100. They're thinking long-term. They're thinking legacy. Today, a 1963 D Roosevelt dime in exceptional, very fine condition, with that beautiful gray tone, can reach values around $385,000. Let that hit you. A coin that looks calm, ordinary, even forgettable, is actually a life-changing opportunity. This is hidden wealth in its purest form. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. You might have already spent one. You might have seen it, noticed the nice gray color, and still let it go. That's how easy it is to lose something like this. So slow down. Next time you see a silver-looking dime, don't rush. Check the date, 1963. Look for the D. Examine the surface. Respect the tone. Feel the weight. And if something feels different, trust that instinct. Because most people ignore it. Most people miss this. But the few who don't, they build quiet wealth, one coin at a time. And just when you think you've seen it all, there's another coin out there, even more overlooked, even more shocking in value, a piece that doesn't just hide in plain sight, it practically disappears. And when you finally see it, you'll understand why collectors never talk about it. Next up, you ever get that feeling, like something small just slipped past you and you didn't realize how big it actually was until it was gone? That's this coin. Not loud, not shiny, not screaming for attention. It blends in too well. The 1960 Roosevelt dime with no mint mark, especially the ones with those layered gray tones, that's slightly worn, very fine to very good condition. This is the kind of coin people overlook in seconds and regret for years. Because what looks like a tired old dime is actually one of the most quietly explosive pieces of hidden wealth still floating out there. And here's the part that should make you pause before you touch your change again. This coin doesn't look valuable. It looks used. It looks like it's been through life. And that's exactly why people spend it. This is not fiction. 1960 was sitting right in the middle of a powerful shift in the United States. The country was expanding fast, economically, industrially, culturally. But behind that growth, something was building pressure. Silver demand was rising. Coin production was increasing. And the US Mint, especially in Philadelphia, was pushing hard to keep up. And here's where things get interesting. Philadelphia coins from that era didn't carry a mint mark. So when you see a 1960 dime with no letter, most people assume it's common. Collectors don't, because no mint mark doesn't mean no value. Sometimes it means the exact opposite. Under production pressure, dies were used longer. Machines ran harder. Quality control shifted. And coins came out with subtle differences, tiny characteristics that only show up when you slow down and really look. That's where this coin lives. Not in perfection, but in detail. Let's break it down, but stay with me, because this detail changes everything. On the front, Roosevelt's profile is still strong, but in a very fine or very good condition example, you'll notice soft wear across the hair and cheek. Not damage, not destruction, just time doing its work. Liberty stretches along the side, slightly faded in spots. In God We Trust is still readable but softened. The date, 1960, sits cleanly below, But here's the key. There is no mint mark. Nothing. Just empty space where people expect a letter. And that absence? That's what pulls collectors in. Flip the coin. The torch stands in the center, but now you'll see light smoothing on the flame details. The olive and oak branches are still visible, but slightly blended into the surface from years of circulation. It's not perfect. It's real. And then, the color. Those gray layers. Not one tone, multiple. Soft silver gray blending into deeper, darker shades. Almost like the coin carries its own history on its surface. That layering is not random. That is decades of natural toning, oxidation, and untouched aging. And once again, this is where people make the biggest mistake. They try to clean it. Do not clean this coin. The second you remove those layers, you erase the story. You strip away the originality. You destroy the very thing that makes collectors stop and stare. Original toning is everything. Now hold it in your hand. Feel the weight, around 2.5 grams. Slightly heavier than modern dimes, because this one is still 90% silver and 10% copper. That's real metal, real substance. The diameter, about 17.91 millimeters. Thickness, close to 1.35 millimeters. The edge, reeded, still gripping your fingers slightly if it hasn't been worn down too much. There's a presence to it, a quiet heaviness that modern coins just don't have. And here's what most people completely miss. Coins in very fine or very good condition are usually ignored in favor of higher grades. But not this one. Because with this specific year, this specific mint origin, and those natural gray layers, collectors see something different. They see survival. They see authenticity. They see a coin that lived through real circulation, untouched, unaltered, unpolished. And that creates obsession. Because while perfect coins sit in cases, coins like this tell a story. And stories sell, quietly at first, then aggressively. Auction rooms don't always explode with noise when this coin appears. Sometimes it's the opposite. Focused silence, careful bidding, 2 or 3 collectors locked in, each one knowing they're looking at something that doesn't come around often. Because here's the truth. Supply is shrinking every year. Coins get lost. Coins get damaged. Coins get cleaned, destroyed by mistake. And the number of original, naturally toned 1,960 no mint mark dimes in attractive circulated condition. It's dropping. Fast. Meanwhile, demand is climbing. Collectors are getting smarter. They're looking beyond perfection. They're hunting originality, texture, tone, things that can't be faked easily. That's why this coin has reached values around $394,000 in today's market. Let that sink in. A worn-looking dime, a coin most people wouldn't even pick twice from a pile, is actually a life-changing opportunity. This is silent fortune. This is hidden wealth. And this is exactly the kind of coin people are accidentally losing every single day. So here's what you do carefully. Check your dimes. Look for 1960. Then stop, don't rush, and check for a mint mark. If there's nothing there, don't assume anything. Look closer. Study the surface. Look for those gray layers, that natural aging, that untouched look. Feel the weight. Compare it to modern coins. You'll notice the difference. And if something feels right, do not spend this coin. Do not clean it. Get it professionally graded. Because that one step, authentication, can unlock everything. Most people never take that step. That's why most people never find this kind of wealth. But the ones who do, they don't rush. They don't guess. They observe, they wait, and they win. And just when you think you've uncovered the most overlooked dime out there, There's one more. A coin so deceptive, so easy to ignore, that even experienced collectors have missed it in plain sight. And when it shows up, it doesn't just surprise people, it shocks the entire market.